The only intelligent beings in the galaxy, we shall make sure we survive and continue. Our only chance of long-term survival is not to remain in working on planners, but to travel into space. We don't appear to have this violence. Like this, the voice of the levels. When we appear only for X reveals. If there's a government conspiracy for special reports that keep us off the scientific knowledge being spring, it seems to have the important effective policy so far. The potential benefits of creating intelligence are huge. We cannot predict when we might achieve when our own minds are amplified by AI. Alongside the benefits, AI will also bring dangers, like powerful autonomous methods, or new ways for us to improve humanity. In short, the rise of powerful AI will be the potential reversing there's an end to humanity.
What do you think is the cosmological effect of Satan leaving one direction, and consequently breaking the hearts of millions of teenage girls across the world? I have no idea what to do about.
Finally, a question about something important. My advice to any growing young girl is to pay close attention to the study of theoretical physics. Because one day, there may well be proof of multiple universes. That would not indeed be beyond the realms of possibility that somewhere outside of our own universe lies another different universe. And in that universe, Satan is still in one direction. Minden My name is Stephen Hawking. For the past 50 years, I have traveled the world studying the lecture about time and space with the laws that govern the universe. This film is a personal journey through my life, told in my own words. Come with me, and I will show you how I live and work today, and tell you the story of how I became who I am. Welcome to my world.
I think if he was in time, being casual analysis, I think that'd be him. He likes to veg cheese, he likes dangerous flying, he likes ice and being submarines, he's like man. Got a lot of guts in him. The three of them, the nursery, the things cool happens 45 phenomenon. But there is not much we can actually do because the is on any day, which is everyone, 6 hours. Then nothing we could do, and we could have oxygen symptoms, and we could give oxygen, but if he's in total state, then we'll have to let him die.
I have lived over 2/3 of my life with the threat of death hanging over me. With the 72 days of my last, I have developed the desire to make the most of each and every minute. Although I'm 71 now, I still go to work every day at Cambridge University. Keeping an active mind has been vital to my survival, as has been maintaining a sense of humor.
When I went to my training, I feel nothing about my past experience while I'm falling care. They hit me after the coach legs. I was 19 at the time, and I lied. I didn't know the coach legs, but I got the job straight away. I'm working with very different. My family, Stephen's been there for 3 years, and going on my 10 out. So he's been there for makes an important stage of my life. I'm very privileged, thanks to Stephen. Do you know about me? No, I wasn't
Yes. As you can see, the gradual advance of my illness has meant that I'm totally reliant on those around me. 71 years ago, life started at Beifu. I was born in 1942, exactly 300 years after the death of Galileo. My parents were both at Oxford University, where my father studied medicine. He later specialized in tropical diseases. It is often said that a person's early years are a good indication of how they will turn out. Perhaps my eldest sister Mary remembers me best.
I haven't seen him so great. Always in things. I remember coming to the house, so Stephen was coming to lighting. He let me in everything. We all had to play drafts. I did see him once at drafts, and he needed to practice and never did that again.
I also spent a lot of time playing on my own as a boy. I had a passion to understand how things worked, from wide range to the whole universe.
He would spend a lot of time looking at the sky, looking at the stars, and wondering where it turned to end. He couldn't conceive that there was something without finish.
Home life was always simple for me and my siblings. My mother and father were intellectuals, and naturally they expected their children to follow.
Those seconds were William and Harry captured in a sort of circle. We always talked. Everyone talked, never argued. We used to argue so much, debating kids, giving any facts whatsoever.
To outsiders, the Viking household was considered eccentric, but for me, it was a place where my mind was constantly challenged.
There were books everywhere, bookshelves at double banks, bookshelves had on top of the books, rows of books you wanted around space. There was a lesson house, one in which the children had radio freedom, and I remember being quite conversation at lunch, and it was about subjects which men talked about in my house, sex, homosexuality, arguments for and against abortion, and various other subjects that were quite unusual.
As I developed into a teenager, my parents taught me to always question things and think big.
Stephen devised and remembers in the early 1950s not just one but 2 computers which we built from scratch. It was about the size of a half-death fridge, about as tall and about as wide. It solved logic problems, posed in binary. If this condition is true, and that condition is true, or that condition instead is true, then, and giving what then meant.
At school, my classmates gave me the nickname Einstein, even though I was only the other half of the class. It was, I like to think, a very bright class.
It was Stephen to Oxford. Those seconds being Oxford. He was extremely bright, so very athletics. He and my father had a difference of opinion about what he should study. That's what people think Stephen did medicine. But Stephen was not into medicine. Stephen was orthodox, basically. So they compromised.
We agreed on the degree in natural sciences, specializing in physics. The prevailing method at Oxford at the time was very handiwork. You were supposed to be willing without effort, or to accept your limitations and get a fourth class degree. To work hard to get a better class degree was regarded as a mark of a great man. The worst F and the Oxford category.
Thanks
Stephen I felt was ready to there was no need to work or get work, and Steve was a very funny guy. He was able to appreciate jokes the whole time, and spontaneous humor was really important.
Alex Wright joined the Rowing Club and became her host. I will listen to freedom, the sea, and of course, following the house. The Rowing Club also introduced me to one of my favorite pastimes at Oxford. Trading. I once calculated that I did 1,000 hours work in the 3 years I was there, an average of an hour a day. I'm not proud of this lack of work. I'm just describing my attitude at the time, which I shared with most of my fellow students.
Within the whole year, people gradually thought Steve was being thoroughly valuable, but he was brilliant in the sense that he could make up for much, which would be, but he was definitely a standout person of intellect. The question also was whether he would use that intellect to go anywhere.
Well, it's the number of campaign receptions one goes through is a measure of success, and it would seem that I made it. Tonight, I'm guest of honor at the launch of a supercomputer called Cosmos in Cambridge. Cosmos is one of the most powerful computers in the world, and will enable us to better understand our place in the universe.
Stevens, that's well, the same scientist, and one time it's fantastic to have his support. There is a theoretical project in the UK.
The notion of fame is a curious thing to me. In my mind, I am a scientist who has been lucky to work on some of the fundamental mysteries of our universe. Sometimes I wonder if I am as famous for my wheelchair and disabilities as I am for my discoveries. As my student days were in full swing, I was gradually becoming aware that all was not well. During my final year at Oxford, I had noticed that I was getting rather clumsy in my movements, and I fell over once or twice for no apparent reason. But then one evening, late at night, something more serious happened.
I recall the time that Steve fell down the steps. He fell down all the way to the bottom. He lost consciousness, and then he couldn't remember who he was. He couldn't remember where he was, so it was very seriously.
When I look back at that fall, I didn't realize at the time that it was a warning sign of things to come. But I recovered and soon had more pressing things on my mind. Despite my relaxed attitude to study, I graduated with first class honors and left Oxford for Cambridge University to begin my PhD. Yet, little did I know, I would soon be diagnosed with a critical illness that would change my life forever.
Well, Stephen's speed of communication has very gradually slowed down. A few years ago, he started using his hands to communicate by picking switch on his shoulder. When he wanted to do nothing more, he switched over to switch on his cheek. But in time now, he's pretty responsive, so they're looking into facial recognition.
This is a high-speed camera, which will allow us to see very fine details of the this will help us to improve the rate of your speech.
I have had to learn to live with my slow rate of communication. I can only write by clenching my cheek muscle to move the cursor on my computer. One day I fear this muscle will fail, but I would like to be able to speak more quickly.
You want me to change it to English? Yeah, something. Yeah. So I go to I'm going to get but sometimes he can make a mistake, and then he deletes it, and then he makes a mistake, and deletes it, and then you can that one, and you can see the on his face as well.
I'm voting this current generation of software experts and harness what little movement I have left in my face and turn it into faster communication.
Your current piece of software is a little bit well provided, but you're very used to using it, so we changed the method by which your next word prediction works, and we pretty much pick up the correct word every single time, even if your letters away from it.
This is the improved previous version. I really like it.
That's amazing. I think it's actually comforting. This is what we showed him. He was excited about anything better than what he's doing. I think it's going to be success. Anything that doesn't complicate Stephen's life anymore, he got to be successful.
Thank you very much. In 1962, age 20, when I arrived at Cambridge to begin my PhD, I was also desperate for my wife to be hurt as I worked on my first real scientific challenge. At the time, two theories held directly described the universe. The steady state theory held that the universe had always existed and would exist forever. But there was another, more exciting idea. The Big Bang theory suggested that the universe had begun with a huge explosion. I decided to try to see if I could shed any light on how the Big Bang came to be. But by now, the immediate challenge I was facing was to keep control of my body. My movements were becoming even more erratic, so I was determined not to worry my family, so I tried to keep it to myself.
Stephen went home for Christmas after one term, and the symptoms that he had become too severe to have his parents. His father insisted on taking him to the family doctor first, and then that doctor recommended a specialist in London. So after Stephen's father went to London and St. Paul's Hospital,
I was in hospital for 2 weeks and had a wide range of unpleasant tests. They took a muscle sample from my arm and stuck electrodes into me. And they injected some lipids into my spine and took x-rays. Eventually, I was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, otherwise known as motor neuron disease or ALS. The prognosis was not good. I was given 2 to 3 years to live.
It was always hard to have Stephen took it, because one thing he would talk about it. If you got anything about it, you probably don't want to talk about it, or have you talk about it. He did seem pretty depressed, and then he accepted emotionally. Oh, very pieces. It was such a shock to everybody, and then by the night, we all thought he was going to live very long.
Not knowing what was going to happen to me or how rapidly the disease would progress, I was at loose end. The doctor told me to go back to Cambridge and carry on with my research. But I was not making much progress, and anyway, I might not live long enough to finish my PhD. I felt somewhat of a tragic character. I took to listening to the doctor. Gardner's denunciation of death made a great impression on me when I first heard it, as I had just developed motor neuron disease. I identified with it, and still to this day. As it turned out, I didn't die. At first, the disease seemed to progress fairly rapidly. As time went by, however, the disease slowed down. I also began to make progress with my work. But what really made the difference was falling in love with a girl called Jane Wilde, whom I had met about the same time I was diagnosed. This gave me something to live for.
oh, it was great fun. He was eccentric. I was really drawn to his very wide smile and his beautiful grey eyes. And to take that topic, I fell in love with him. We went to defy the disease, we went to defy the doctors, and we went to challenge the future.
Jane was beautiful and gentle, and seemingly undaunted by the harsh reality of my illness. Falling in love and getting engaged was a motivation that I needed. If I were to get married, I had to get a job, and to get a job I had to finish my PhD. I therefore started working hard for the first time in my life. To my surprise, I found I liked it.
Well, Stephen found his route, he found his trajectory, and when Stephen found his trajectory, he pursued it. It was terribly exciting, because he had been so depressed, and here he was, with new lease of life.
Perhaps because I realized I might not have much time, I renewed my efforts to tackle the big question in cosmology in the early 60s. Did the universe have a beginning or not? Many scientists were instinctively opposed to the idea of the Big Bang, because it implies a moment of creation. But and upon. For me, though, religion has no role to play in physics, so I wondered if the Big Bang could have happened on its own, without the need for God to get it going. The key was in the theory of black holes. At the time, physicist Roger Penrose was working on what happens when a star collapses under the force of its own gravity. Penrose claimed the star would crush itself to a tiny point of infinite density, where time itself would come to a stop. He called it singularity, the heart of the black hole.
When I was doing this work on gravity's collapse at Black Hole University, I had a private session. He was telling me about it quickly. He just asked me some people asking me questions.
I worked relentlessly to see if I could apply the notion of singularity to the entire universe. And suddenly, I had it. I imagined both numbers at the beginning and worked out that right at the start, the universe would happen in singularity too. Here, time stops. You've reached the true beginning of everything. There is no previous time in which the universe would have had a cause. It spontaneously created itself in the Big Bang.
The work that Stephen did basically showed there was a single state which couldn't have come from a previous universe. He would say, it is a theory which tells you what the universe is.
By addressing the question of creation, as physicists had avoided, I had controversially shown the laws of nature suggest there is no need for a creator or God. The universe just came into existence all by itself. My findings about the Big Bang and the possible beginning of the universe gave me the results I needed to advance my PhD. I applied for a research fellowship at Cumberland College, which proved successful. The money from the fellowship meant that Jane and I could get married, which we did in July 1965.
We had a maximum number of guests in a tiny chapel. Stephen was walking the stick, and he was using strength in his arms. We went off for our honeymoon to upstate New York to a physics conference at Cornell University, and there I got to know that the goddess in Stephen's life with whom I was sharing marriage was physics.
After returning from our honeymoon, Jane and I bought a house in Little St. Mary's Lane in the center of Cambridge. In March 1966, I completed and submitted my PhD thesis with the help of Jane West and many painstaking hours at the typewriter, typing it up. The findings in my thesis really enhanced my reputation in criminology.
Stephen's professor did. Right. It's important to know that there was a Big Bang, because that governs our cosmology. It's also important to know what it was like, and why it was like what it was like. Because when you trace back everything in nature, you get ultimately the Big Bang. And the fact that a single state is very much part of that understanding.
My early work went some way to answering how our universe began, but there's still plenty more to find out. Great work, Black holes, but slowly. At Cambridge, I met a new generation of cosmologists who are never suffered lessons. This is where I enjoy the most. You might as well say for solutions of physics because it really is. I have always wanted to share my enthusiasm and excitement. There's nothing like the lyrical moment of discovering something that no one knew before. I won't compare it to sex, but it lasts longer. My next major lyrical moment happened when I was least expecting it. In the autumn of 1970, I had been concentrating my research on black holes. By now, Jane and I had 2 children. Robert, aged 3 years, and Lucy, who had just been born. One evening in November, as I was getting ready for bed, an idea charged through my brain. Only cosmologists would really grasp it, but it would really enhance my reputation.
I was sitting on one side of the bed, and Stephen was sitting on the other side of the bed, fussing with his buttons. And this was one evening when he took longer about it than usual, so I finished feeding the baby. And I said, I think I solved the problem.
Suddenly, I had a revelation about what happens when 2 black holes collide and merge. I realized that the surface area of the 2 black hole could only get there, but could never increase in size. This may sound like an obscure discovery, but it reveals some fundamental properties of the universe. Even though few physicists could understand it at the time, for me, it was very exciting. I was writing the rule book for black holes. Now my voice would really be heard.
I knew he'd done something very important, so I was absolutely thrilled. And this, of course, made his name in a big way in physics. He recognized as somebody with great potential. But now he really had a discovery to his name.
By the early 1970s, my career in criminology and my understandings of the universe were beginning to blossom. But as my mind grew in confidence, my body was going into a rapid decline. At home, I was elected to ask for help from outsiders, and was relying upon Jane more and more to help me get up in the morning, get dressed, and get to work. And when I got to Cambridge, I needed my students to help me too. Yes.
I first met Stephen in 1972 at Cambridge when I became his PhD student. He was in a wheelchair, and so I was enrolled in helping with eating and moving around and coffee and things like that. So it was a rather unusual relationship. In those days, Stephen was still speaking with his voice. His voice was still so easy to hear what he was saying. And indeed, when I traveled with Stephen, I would often be acting as an interpreter. So Stephen would say something that the person speaking to would understand, but then repeat it. Although I was becoming increasingly trapped inside my dysfunctioning body, fortunately my mind was unaffected. I had a new big question I felt compelled to find the answer to. My reputation in the field of black holes was established as the end of the golden age. But my next discovery would throw all cosmologists' findings today up in the air. The calculations I was working on involved what happened to particles on the edge of a black hole that were sucked in and disappeared. To my great surprise, I found that some particles escaped the black hole, which seemed to make a mockery of the known laws of physics. At first I thought it must be a mistake. I do remember when he was working on this problem, and I even remember when he told me he was working out the quantum effects of these black holes, and he seemed to get these particles coming out. What seems to out how he would become. I was tested it.
It was a very intense period. It was when he could be surrounded by children and not notice what was going on because he was like a thinker with his head in his hand, often accompanied by Wagner blaring out from loudspeakers. He used to drive me there.
Finally, after months of exhaustive work, I found what I was looking for. Contrary to all previously held theories on black holes, I discovered that they must be particles like a hot body losing heat. This evaporation meant in theory, the black hole would eventually disappear. I announced my findings on St. Valentine's Day in 1974 at a criminology conference in Oxford to a packed audience.
It came to an end, and there was absolute silence in the lecture hall. I can see it now. The chairman of the lecture jumped to his feet, and instead of saying, "Oh, I was thank Professor Walking for his remarkable lecture," he said, "This is preposterous. I've never heard anything like it." The whole place was a buzz. People couldn't believe what they heard.
My controversial discovery filled the world of physics, but eventually it became accepted and known as quantum radiation. I am proud to have discovered it.
This was a remarkable result because it was a result which unified relativity theory and quantum theory in thermodynamics. And physics is really all about unifying ideas. These 3 subjects seem to be brought together, and this was the first time it's seen that kind of communication. Every now and then physics gets results. It's so beautiful, really, it's like one candle in the sun.
Oh, I was enormously proud of what Stephen did too.
After I announced my theory of quantum radiation and the later discovery of exploding black holes, a procession of international awards followed. In the spring of 1974, I was inducted into the Royal Society, one of the most prestigious bodies of scientists. My name now sat alongside Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. A year later, I received the gold medal for science from Pope Paul VI. Age 32, I was thrilled to ask such high-profile awards to my name and exciting new opportunities beckoned. In 1974, doors started to open for me, and I was invited on a visiting professor at the California Institute of Technology in Los Angeles. This meant moving with the whole family for the academic year, and the lure of the American West Coast was irresistible. We were in the midst of a revolution in the application of quantum physics of black hole. I was hoping to have a year in which the result would be better science than my Caltech scientists and my research group members, and better science than my student. Life in California was very different from Cambridge. I now had a large salary in a big house, just as those grow from the university.
Well, America could be on another planet. We were living that luxury. No expense there to make us welcome, and this great gift of an electric wheelchair provided to Stephen's use.
Yet, although we had all the mountains that America could offer us, it was becoming clear that the demands of home life on Jane were becoming too intense. Looking after 2 young children and trying to cope with my ever-increasing disabilities were causing too much strain. I
could not see my way through what he was going to demand from me. This wonderful idea came to me. If we were going to go to California, and the students were going to come too, why didn't we offer them a bed in our house in return for help with Stephen?
Because it's not a long relationship between Stephen and the PhD student. But for me, that was a bit because I lived rent-free in exchange for helping Stephen out around home, our time, helping build things like that. But the excitement of new life in California was partially interrupted by my motor neuron disease. The physical symptoms took an irreversible turn for the worse. That was the year in which he lost his hands. When he arrived, he still write equations, so it was something by the end of the year. So it was in terms of his physical development, it was more difficult. On the other hand, in terms of his mental development, as he gradually lost his hands, he further developed his manipulative thinking by manipulating shapes and topologies in his head, and became even more advanced than the rest of us. By losing the finer dexterity of my hands, I was forced to travel through the universe in my mind and try to visualize ways in which it worked. He could move at lightning speed across the frontiers of knowledge and see things that we often see. This ability forced him to carry himself in new ways, in new directions. Turning problems over in my mind has been my main method of discovery for nearly half my life now. While all around me people have passed away, deep in conversation, I have often been transported far, lost inside my own thoughts, trying to fathom how the universe works. When we returned from California in the summer of 1975, much of the future, living with my oldest, seemed uncertain. So Jane and I took comfort in the security of a happy family life. And to make home life easier, we realized my disability meant that we needed a student living with us full time. I was not based on solely using voice for me to come for, you know, I understand what you say. Or because of the circumstances, you say it was really normal. And that's how wheelchair. And I was there, so I loaded the wheelchair. And even though I loaded down, I started to the corner, and 5 years later, I slowly came backwards. And followed the bushes. Yeah, I was master gravity, or there's actually field, the bushes I repeated, he was quite sad and pressed, and I couldn't tell, he said that. Although my increasing disabilities were really affecting my life more and more, I was seriously reluctant to accept nursing care. I was convinced that I
I was convinced that I could build a team of people around me who would care for me in their own way.
We didn't have any less talk in this context. I would look after him. Well, I had to make his nose come his hair for him if it was falling down into his eyes. And I could see that when he was eating or drinking, this could cause a problem, and a very big one for me because I didn't have any nursing training whatsoever.
One night Stephen had a horrendous choking fit, and I just didn't know what to do. Everything just shook, windows rattled, doors shook. It was the most terrifying experience, and it was critical.
Although I was able to live work as I wanted, I was never really able to understand the strain it was placing on the people around me, especially my wife, Jane.
I was beginning to feel that there were two faces to our situation. One was the public image, the wunderkind of physics, who had overcome a venereal disease, who was whizzing around the world in his wheelchair to receive honours and medals. And the other side, the other face, was our own situation, where sometimes the illness forced us into our own black hole.
The decline in my health was a stark reminder that time was against me. Yet despite the pressures on my family, I was determined to realize a lifelong ambition by writing a popular book about how the universe had begun. I wanted to go to the UN by millions of people around the world, like a best-selling airplane novel.
I did nothing to work because basically, if you want to go to airports, you're not like that.
However, I felt sure that the mass market would want to know about how the universe began. By 1984, I had completed the first chapter.
There was great interest again. It was a great publication. I started towns, which is the book. So he had a contract ready for the design, and I had heard that he was going to be in Chicago. So I was very lady, and then his car was and someone gets out, he goes back to the passenger door, and scoops what looks like a life-size broken doll into his arms, and brings it back to the wheelchair, and gently eases the doll into place, and suddenly the doll contaminated as soon as the hand is on control. But literally, he takes the light, spins around 2 times, and takes off, and Brian shouts back out of my car. Is that you? Is that I said, yes, it's me. Oh, quick, follow us, Professor Hawking.
I signed up with Peter and set to work completing the first draft of my book. I tried to simplify the physics as best I could, and by the end I was pleased and felt it was in pretty good shape. But Peter wasn't convinced.
I was pretty disappointed. Yeah, I thought this was going to be really difficult. But I just decided to be a substantial amount to it, and by God, we read this book, so let's just start sliding. And then maybe lightning strike or something wonderful happen.
Lightning did strike, but not in the way that Peter never hoped. That summer I had taken a break from rewriting to travel to Switzerland on holiday. But while I was there, I got a chest infection that developed into pneumonia and quickly became very serious. I was going to a writing coma and under a life support machine. The doctor thought I was so far gone, they offered to Jane to turn off the machine, but she refused. Finally, Jane insisted I was going back to Cambridge. I remember very vividly walking through the doors and being really quite rocked by what I saw when I got in there, and I realised that Stephen was really very, very ill. Things were not looking good. He could have died.
We were told that he could breathe, and of course we knew how weak he was at that time, and he'd been ill before, and we knew that he was on the time.
The weeks of intensive care were the darkest of my life. I felt I had always fought my illness so hard that I was not prepared to give in so easily. Slowly the drugs began to work, and the infection passed, but the surgeons had to perform a vacuum on me to allow me to breathe, which made a small incision in my windpipe and connected me to a ventilator via the hole in my throat. As a result, I was now robbed of the ability to talk. I faced a life unable to properly communicate.
It was a very time, very random, and you didn't know how you were to control. So yes, it was a very big time.
All hopes of finishing my book, and perhaps even my career, seemed to be over.
It was very tense for everybody. It was incredibly tense. It was difficult to think that Stephen was going to come out of there and be okay.
As the weeks of my recovery turned into months, it became obvious to me and everyone around me that being on a ventilator meant that I needed constant care and monitoring to keep alive.
This was a very big realisation that things were going to dramatically change, and that this was going to be needing 24-hour day nursing care. Their lives were never ever going to be the same again.
Once nurses came into the house, life changed, and that was very difficult for all of us, me, my children. Home was no longer home. There was no privacy, because the walls were listening to everything.
Despite the intrusions on family life with the nurses' help, I grew stronger. Yet, I still felt trapped inside my body. For a time, at home, I could communicate only by raising my eyebrows when someone pointed the letters on the card. All thoughts of work and finishing my book grew distant. But then quite unexpectedly, a glimmer of hope came from across the water.
I got a call from a physicist, and he said that I'm working on computer systems for people with ALS. Says I've got someone in English, professor of physics, who lost the ability to speak English system. The system was called Equalizer, and the top part of the screen was rows of letters, and the bottom part of the screen was rows of words, very frequently used words. So he could choose the top part or the bottom part. And whenever he was one way, he was standing using this. I had enough movement in my right hand to be able to click the computer system and write the words I wanted. Finally, I was free to communicate again. I was keen to make up for the lost time that my illness had forced upon me. I had a stack of notes from Peter Guzari suggesting changes and clarifications to my book. But I needed practical help with rewriting my end, someone who could act as a go-between. People say Stephen on office, and Stephen was writing using the computer system on screen, and then he would say what he was saying every time. Which was complicated, right? Like that.
I had no idea what was going on Stephen's side of this, where it seemed that he was persuading Stephen that this was okay, helping Stephen off the walls, Stephen started thinking, well, I spent all the time, but he understands the basic stuff.
After months of work, the rewrite was complete. None of us really knew whether the book would be liked, and would sell as we all hoped for. All we could do now was give the title, A Brief History of Time, send it off to the printers, and wait. But to everyone's surprise, the book sold copy after copy, and very quickly books were selling out.
I had no expectation of being the number one selling book in the world. I mean, not just here, Germany, Slovenia, France, Italy, everywhere in the world was the hope that someone had found the mystery of life. And then I was reading the book in Brandon, and Marty was doing copies sold. It was very gratifying. In the 3 years I've been in this business, I don't think I've ever had a book that stayed at the top of the bestsellers that long. I was amazed at how well it did. I think work inspired people. He gave people some overall sense of the universe, and it made the subject become a subject of conversation among people in all of life.
That's the important thing, time, and I like the successful publishing of
A Brief History of Time. So, right, million copies.
There's stories in the bestseller.
a huge successful publishing time, that's the important thing.
A Brief History of Time stayed in the bestseller list for over 4 years, and entered the Guinness Book of Records for doing so. To date, over 10 million copies have been sold worldwide. Over the next few years, a lot of us would read about my book. I became famous nationally around the world, as it was translated into 40 different languages. I was invited on the chat shows, and I made a cameo appearance on Star Trek, my favorite sci-fi show. Wrong again, Albert. I enjoyed the media session, the listening to people, getting more involved in understanding the physics of our universe. But soon the press wanted to know more about me, my illness, and my family life.
He wanted to about celebrity. He enjoys that, and part of his whole outlook on life and science is fun, and celebrity was fun, and he embraced it in a way that was not necessarily very good for the family, children. So this was a real problem in marriage.
We were engulfed and swept away by this great wave of fame and fortune. And I have to say, really, people wanted too much for me to cope with, and I suppose that's when we ceased to be as happy as we had been. And the marriage broke up. I felt as if a rug not just been pulled up from under my feet, but the earth had opened up under that rug and swallowed me up because the marriage had been my raison d'etre. And it took me quite a while to recover my sense of my own identity.
It was clear that my life and Jane's were beginning to follow a different path. In 1990 we separated, and were divorced in 1995. In the same year, I announced my engagement to Elaine Mason and married again. Elaine had been one of my nurses from the start of my 24-hour wraparound care. Over the years, we had become extremely close, as Jane and I drifted apart, each seeking comfort in love from new relationships.
Elaine became closer to Stephen than any of the other nurses. When he traveled, he preferred to have her with him over the others. It became a close relationship.
My marriage to Elaine was passionate and impetuous. She saved my life on several occasions, and we were together for 11 years before divorcing in 2006. The low point was when the press began to substantiate allegations that I had been the victim of domestic violence. To my mind, this was a gross invasion of our privacy and was an extremely hurtful and damaging time for us both. Unfortunately, being in the public eye can have its drawbacks. Living a very public life does, however, have its upsides too. At work, I am often visited by famous people who share in the space in the universe we live in. Sometimes even ask us to drop by.
My voice is listened to because I did something 43 years ago. I have the sense of humans reaching outward and succeeding. But I believe that he is valued more because he has the pure analytical combined with the philosophical that comes from his understanding of the beginnings and the ends of the universe.
I have often dreamt about traveling through space myself. Recently, I got closer by experiencing a zero-gravity flight. It was also known that temporarily stripped me of my disability, a feeling of true freedom. I believe the pioneering efforts of the early astronauts like us need to be taken to the next level. I am convinced that one day humans will have to call my center friends in order to survive. Space travel will become an everyday necessity. Until then, I hope to be one of the first ordinary people to blast off into space, but I will be a little held.
I just couldn't think of anybody well beyond that space. And you know, kind of anybody one person well we help you space. I was incredibly accepted by that, and so in that day, he told me, hurry up, get spaceship, build it, and hopefully next time. I think that he feels space does me in any way.
My hope for space travel hasn't been equal in my life, but as my wheels are still firmly planted here on planet Earth, I will keep on dreaming. As I am now considered a so-called famous person, more and more of my time is taken up with my public life. For this, I rely greatly upon my team around me.
You are really the gatekeeper in this role. You get general fan mail, hero worshipping, really. Then you get people who are obsessed with religion and God, and physical beings that have a God as such that they can feel comfortable about. So you get a huge range of what we call God letters. And then you get letters from the disabled, serious scientists, mostly people with admiration for what he has achieved. He is a great iconic figure, and he enjoys public appearances, and it's great that he's still very engaged with everything that surrounds him.
So, if you want to explore the inside of the black hole, choose something one. Even has searched for many black holes such as but has so far not found any. This is a pity, because if it had, I would have found a Nobel Prize. If you had asked me 40 years ago if I ever thought I would be talking in front of a sellout crowd and be a part of popular culture, I would have that. But if I get involved with the sci-fi status upon us, has encouraged people to question our universe, then I'm okay.
The world's smartest man.
If you're looking for trouble, you found it.
Yeah, just trying to use. You don't teach people. You never really have to teach people. You can't take yourself too seriously no matter how intelligent or how important work you're doing is. Whenever I do a talk show, I try to think of ways to do things that are completely different and completely ridiculous. Most people don't assume that's who I am. So I thought, well, wonderful. Partner up with the smartest man on the earth. He was wonderful. He was just fantastic. I was expecting him to be so serious about himself. And I think it was a relief for him to completely make fun of the whole thing. Yeah, he did a great job of doing the lines that I'd written, and he was done the whole time.
No, you're Tino. No, you are.
After we did the routine, we got started with friendship. So I was invited to his home, and one of the funny highlights of the night was about right there. I asked him just for a picture. Pretty wonderful picture. And so I pictured me cursing agony and stuff. So it was wonderful, wonderful to be there, wonderful to talk to him, and ask him important questions like how many tablespoons does it take to screw a light bulb, and he's still struggling with that. It has been a lot of fun and also very strange to see myself depicted in so many ways. But perhaps the strangest is that I've had part of my early life portrayed by an actor. I think you know this was so much time. It's terrible to have a big touching mindset body that looks to the PQ stationary. One of the things I was to show the stages of progression, and my is very from the various because of the stance becomes less and more sensible and the range around those things are busy. You know, I think it's probably people that see the and there's something so that I'm so it's most complex it is. One advantage of being a public figure is being asked to discuss things. Today I'm center stage at the opening ceremony of the Paralympic Games, and it's an honor to do so. Ever since the dawn of civilization, people have waited for an understanding of the underlying order of the world. There ought to be something very special about the boundaries of the universe. What can be more special than there is no boundary? And there should be no boundaries in human endeavor. The Paralympic Games are all about transforming our perception of the world. We are all different. There is no such thing as a standard or unfulfilled human being, but we share the same human spirit. However difficult life may be, there is always something you can do to succeed at. The games provide an opportunity for athletes to excel, to stretch themselves, and become outstanding in their field. So let us together celebrate excellence, friendship, and respect. Good luck to you all. Having lived on this wonderful planet for over 71 years, I feel my proudest achievement has been to inspire people to think about the cosmos and our place in it. Since I believe there is no afterlife, I think it's important to realize we only have a very short time in life and should make the best of it. Today, I enjoy time together with family and friends, and despite my disabilities, I will always keep wondering about the mysteries of the universe.
Seems to me your sense was friendly. You come to terms with impending bereavement, and then suddenly find that it's not impending after all. I chose that you were about. He cooperated with the questions. Seeing will carry on until they push on about. He didn't just stop overnight. Seems always had this determination to survive, I guess. And every time Stephen gets particularly ill, I always held it. He always does. He's got this tremendous determination to live on everything. There are several things in the world to live. There are several components to this launch Bible. One is that he's by a very large margin, most average person ever had. He is one of those very few people who can see far beyond the borders of knowledge, see how things really work, and set directions for other people to search and attempts to prove them right or wrong.
To recover from a broken marriage is very difficult. At first, we were in touch. Then it got very difficult. But lately, we have been able to say, I called on him perhaps once a fortnight. All those years of Stephen were a huge part of my life. They were my young years. They were my children. And I can't just wipe those from the record. I wouldn't want to. It would be self-destructive to wipe those away. And I'm very, very proud of what Stephen has done.
Life has thrown at me both good times and bad. Perhaps it is human nature that we adapt and survive. As for me, I have lived with the prospect of an early death most of my life. I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm in no hurry to die. I have so much I want to do and find out first. So for now, goodbye, and thank you for coming on a journey through my world. I'm very aware of the precious of time. I was given 2 or 3 years to live. I faced a life unable to properly communicate. Fortunately, my mind was unaffected. While all around me people have lost deep in conversation, I have often been transported far, lost inside my own thoughts, trying to fathom out the universe first. Perhaps it is human nature that we adapt and survive. We have this one life to appreciate the grand sight of the universe. There is still plenty more to find out. We are all time travelers, journeying together to the future. Let us work together to make that future a place we want to visit. I'm convinced that you must see the universe and make a move on another planet. In the next 100 years, we will embark on our greatest ever adventure. Our destination is the stars. So remember to look at that stars spot on every region. Try to make sense of what you see, wonder about what makes the universe exist.